Hi, my name is Zach Fisher, and today I'm going to be demoing the new Netapp AFX systems. And the vast majority of the time, I'm going to spend setting up and demoing the systems. Now, just a little background on me. I have not before yesterday ever done a single click in ONTAP. I have worked for EMC, Dell, and HPE and done some degree of work on their storage systems, but I've never worked with ONTAP. And I'm very impressed. I went through this little lab one time and I was very impressed by how easy it was. But very quickly, I'm going to review what AFX is. And the AFX is the new NetApp model. It runs ONTAP, so you can easily manage your entire environment of NetApp, whether it be using ONTAP in its traditional models or ONTAP in this new AFX model. You can move things back and forth. You can set up disaster recovery back and forth. You can move things back and forth to the cloud, to your remote sites, all those types of things. So this AFX is running ONTAP. The only thing you can't do today with it is run block workloads, but you can run NFS and CIFS. The ONTAP is utilized the same way as you utilize traditional ONTAP. And then another thing to note is that what makes this AFX unique versus the traditional NetApp FAS and AFF models is that it scales into one giant pool of compute and capacity. So if you want your storage to have more performance, you can just add more compute nodes into the system. So I believe you can even start with 2 and then 4 and then all the way up to 100. I believe is 100 right now. That's what was announced on that Insight. And then you can also just add capacity. So if you want to add some more disk drives, the controllers don't own the capacity. They're all shared. And there's a variety of different capacity types of drives that you can use, all the way up to 60 terabyte drives today. And I believe the larger size drives are QLC, but I'd have to double check on that. This is specifically designed in a lot of cases for those AI type of workloads that require a giant pool of capacity with high performance. And today I'm going to review setting up the cluster, which was extremely easy, and then kind of showing you how it works with other ONTAP systems. And then today I'm not going to review some of the additional things that this system is capable of, like putting together a metadata engine. So enabling your data scientists to query the metadata and do a lot of the tasks that that would be done with their team. So I plan on doing another lab in a couple weeks showing those. But without further ado, what I'm going to do is I'm going to get into ONTAP and show you what this looks like. Let's see here. So I'm going to log in and perform some of the traditional things that you would do in setting up the cluster, first of all. And like I said, I don't have experience with ONTAP. So you can see how this isn't too challenging for somebody who doesn't even have ONTAP experience, has never set up a cluster in ONTAP, done snap mirror, any of those types of things. So first I'm going to get into the cluster. So this is assuming, everything is cabled up, and we're going to actually create the storage system. This is showing some of the tasks that we need to do in order to set up the system, and that's what I'm going to be doing. You can see, you can click on these to get more information on those. But to start, let's configure protocols. And we're going to configure NFS to allow NFS client access. Then we're going to need to make sure that we configure the networking, which traditionally you're going to be given some of this information by your network team. Okay. We're configuring the network and add a subnet. Let's put in some IP addresses. I'm going to copy and paste from text documents some of these things to make it easier. But these are going to be the IP addresses of the cluster itself when we're starting. And we're going to add that subnet. And we're going to put 2 interfaces per node on this just to simplify things a little bit. Then it'll automatically populate a lot of these things. Okay. So now you can see here we've successfully done it. Now we need to add data containers. Now that we've successfully configured some of the networking on these nodes. And so we're going to add a volume. And this is just an NFS volume. And this is how you would add a volume in ONTAP. So I think some of the great things about this, if I gonna keep saying them over and over again, but this is just ONTAP. And honestly, like I said, it's easy to work through. And you're going to put some permissions in. That's pretty much it. So we're adding the volume here. And now we're going to go back. Sometimes this takes a minute. But we're going to go back to the dashboard. Let's wait for this. Either I can run it in the background or we'll just have some patience. But this is how you would just add a volume once again. Now we're going to go back to the dashboard. And you can see that the volume was successfully added. Now what we're going to do here is we're going to tour the ONTAP Systems Manager. And what you can see is you can see that there's health check recommendations. You can see the IP addresses. And you can see here are the IP addresses. So this is currently a 2-node cluster. And what we're going to do, we're going to do some things on this, but then we're going to also show you how easy it is to add nodes to the cluster. So we'll go back to the dashboard. You could see the 2 nodes there. And I'm just kind of showing you around things. This is how you would look at the nodes. Now you can see things like performance. You can see we're really not pushing any performance right now because this is just a demo box, but this system is designed to be the highest performance NetApp system. So extremely capable in terms of high performance. Just keep up adding nodes to the cluster. So now, like I said, if you want to increase your performance, you just add nodes non-disruptively. And so what we're going to do here is we're going to simulate, excuse me, we're going to simulate, hey, we're going to turn on these nodes. And this is going to take a second to do. But we're going to simulate, hey, we're powering on these 2 nodes. We're going to join these nodes to the cluster. We're going to show how easy it is. Just drop new compute in there, and your system will automatically improve performance. And the same thing, add more capacity drives in there, and your system will automatically add more capacity. But they should be now on. Okay, here they are. So now these things are on. We're going to have to add them to the cluster. See, they're not joined into the cluster. We're going to join them. So let me show you how easy this is. It's a matter of just adding what IP addresses you want them in. And you can actually even automatically add these in if you want. So it can actually even be less clicks than this, but we're gonna do this manually because traditionally, in an enterprise environment, you're going to have these assigned. Oops. Yeah, so we're adding these in. Okay. Now it's supposed to take about 3 minutes before these things get up and running fully. Okay. So welcome back if I cut that out, but it looks like the two nodes are um, the two nodes are finally or are part of the cluster. Again, it took about 5 minutes. Now we're going to go. We need to assign network ports to these nodes. Or excuse me, we need to add data interfaces to these nodes. So we're going to add data interfaces. And we're going to manually do this. Okay, so we're going to add these data interfaces to each of the nodes so that it's balanced. And we're going to add 2 per node. So we're going to start with this. And we're going to do a total of 4. Okay, now we're doing the second one for the third part of the cluster, or the third node. We're going to do the first one for the fourth node, and we're just putting in IP addresses. We're adding a gateway. And we're putting in one more. And I hope I got all this right. And I think I did. I think I had it all 4, but I guess we'll see at the end because we go back to the home screen. We'll see how many network. Are there 8? Let's see. Yes, there are 8. So we have showed you so far an overview of the ONTAP for AFX. And then I've also showed you how to add nodes into an existing cluster. Now what we're going to do here is we're going to show you how do you set up replication in between your other ONTAP environment and showing you, hey, this is the same as it would be between any ONTAP cluster. So well, we'll stay in this for now. We're going to go into network. We're going to go into the subnets. And we're going to edit this to enable communication between more clusters. And so we're putting in the information for that. And now we're going to go into protection. We're going to add network interfaces. So right now we're setting up some of the intercommunication between multiple clusters. So now we need to add a cluster peer. And to do this, we need to, not that I was gonna, okay. We need to launch the remote cluster. So we need to put in the cluster information. So that we can get a passcode so that we can connect the two clusters, which is similar to what I've been dealing with because I've been trying to port over my phone number and I have to get a password and it's given me serious issues right now, but it's for security purposes and it's extremely important. Let's see if I typed that in right. So right now we're signing in to the other cluster to establish a relationship with it. We're going to copy this passphrase so that we can connect the two. And now that we have it copied, we're going to click enter. Enter. And then hopefully, okay, that was pretty quick. So we have done that, and now you can see the cluster peer here. Now we're going to go to over here to show you the storage VM peer. So we're going to show you how to add a storage VM. Oh, whoops. I just accidentally pressed back. So now you can see we have this relationship. We have a storage VM peer. And so now we have authorized the relationship between the two clusters. And now we're going to start configuring snap mirror replication, which is replication between the two clusters. So now I'm going back onto cluster number 2. And I'm going to snap mirror, which is a replication of a volume between this cluster and the cluster 1. So we're going to go to protected volumes. Section overview, protect volumes. And we're going to go vol 1. So we're going to protect the volume 1. Into the storage VM. And we're going to protect it. And now, once once we have this relationship set up, you will be able to see that this volume is in fact protected. See? And if you want to see, you can see that this has been successfully mirrored here. And you can see this here as well. So okay, so this, we're going back to number 1 so that we can see the remote replication here. So we're going to go and show you, look, we have the volume. So just showing you, fully functional ONTAP with all of the features that are extremely powerful. Now we're going to use Flex Cache. And what Flex Cache is this is the ability for you to, so you have 2 sites and you want the data that's being used at one of the sites to be cached at that site, so that you have less latency. And that's what Flex Cache is. It's a caching mechanism. So you don't have to have the full extent of your data at that site, but the data that's being used most frequently is going to go over to the site that is closer to where your data is at. So we're going to be doing, adding Flex Cache here. So we're going to add a volume that's specific for Flex Cache. And so now we've set up, we're going to set up some of the settings for this Flex Cache. So we created the volume that's Flex Cached with cluster 2. Now, once that's done, we should be able to see it, which is, it's extremely, like it's extremely easy to do that. So there's so many things you could do with your volumes within ONTAP that it makes it extremely flexible operating system. And this AFX allows you to do those things. So now you can see we have our Flex Cache, and this will enable you to have a quicker access to your data at that secondary site. Now, there's one more thing that this that you could do here, but I'm not going to do it for now. But that is setting up PNFS. So that's parallel NFS. And parallel NFS is NFS that's specifically designed to be extremely fast and low latency for things like HPC and AI workloads. So you can quickly set that up as well. In here. And that's also not very hard to do. It just takes a couple of CLI commands. But if you're interested in seeing that piece of the lab, I can definitely show you that. But overall, I just wanted to show you, hey, this is how you use AFX with ONTAP. Here's how you initialize a cluster, add nodes to a cluster, set up relationships between another cluster, do most of the things that a traditional admin would do of an environment, and show you that somebody who has not touched ONTAP, who has not been a storage admin, can do these things fairly easily within a matter of minutes. And it's very intuitive. So very impressed with this, very impressed with, hey, maybe I'll show you some of the performance characteristics of this, the scalability of this system, but extremely excited about this and excited about some of the things that can now be done thanks to this system being created. So thank you. And if you want another lab or anything like that, just let me know.